Hey guys, in this video I'm going to talk about integer addition, the problem type 2 that you're going to see in ALEKS. Right? And what we're first going to do is I'm going to first start out using the stair concept, that just like I did in the problem type 1. Right? So what we'll do is we're going to start out with our negative 52. And so I would always ask students, well, if we have a negative 52, would we represent that by going up the steps or going down the steps? And so we're going to go down 52 steps. Well, then the problem tells us that we are going to add 36. And so to represent that in terms of the steps, since it's a positive 36, we're going to end up going up 36 steps. And to kind of help the students make sense of this, what I like them to think about is, which way did we travel further? Did we travel further down or did we travel further up? And so since we traveled 52 steps down, we traveled further down. So then I ask, or get them to think about, well, how many steps then did we basically not travel down? So thinking that, well, if I had to go back, if I went down 52 steps and I had to go back up 36, well, I know that these 36 steps that I went down, I don't have anymore. And so then we get them to think about, well, 36 steps, well, then what step would I be on? And if we know that 36 plus what number was 52, we see that 36 and 16 equal 52. And so then we would end up being at the 16th step. Equals negative 16. Then, for the second problem, go ahead and erase this right here. We're going to look at negative 54 plus negative 42. And then we're going to use that same concept for that first step, or for the first number, we're going to go down 54 steps. And then we're going to travel 42 steps down even more. And so to help them develop this understanding, that hopefully they realize that with both numbers we'd be traveling down. And so then I ask, how many total steps did they travel down? And they can see that, well, I can add just 54 and 42. And one way that we can look at it is we can do 50 plus 40 plus 2 plus 4 just by looking at the place value. And hopefully they see that we can manipulate it so that it looks like it's 90 plus 6, and our answer is negative 96 because we traveled down both times. Right. We can also use the counters. Now, while I encourage the students to use the counters for the smaller numbers, I don't always recommend it to use for the bigger numbers, but we can still use that same concept. So what I have the students do is we can look at, well, we would start out with negative 52 red counters. Well, I know that I'm going to add 36 positives. And by looking at how many zero pairs we would end up making, we would end up making 36 zero pairs. So then what we would do is I would have them rewrite or manipulate negative 52 with our negative 36 and our negative 16. Now I'll just copy this 36 over here, and we would have 36 zero pairs. and our answer is negative 16. And the same concept for this, as we would have negative 54, and I would ask, what are we going to do to that negative 54? We're going to add 42 more negatives. And so we would end up with a lot more negatives than what we even started with, the negative 54. And then we could count them all out, and we would see that we would have a total of 96 negatives. And using the same concept, we can then develop, not even having to use the model, just so that they can see that how we can manipulate our numbers. And so we can look at it as, we can look at negative 52 plus 36 as, well, I would have negative 16, plus negative 36 plus 36. Looking for the additive inverse of 36, that these together, when we add them, equals 0, and so we're left with negative 16 plus 0. And then for this last concept, we'll see that there are no 0 pairs made because I'm adding 2 negatives, and so then we would just have to add them, so we can manipulate negative 54 as negative 50 plus negative 4 plus negative 40 plus negative 2. And then we can add our place values together so that we can look at, we would have negative 50 plus negative 40, which is negative 90. And then we would have negative 4 plus negative 2, which is negative 6. So we end up with negative 96.